Hi, my name is Lynn Porter, and 25 years ago, when I ran the Centre for Natural Healing in Wolverhampton, I was approached by a college of further education and asked to write a herbal course. It was for national accreditation through the National Open College Network and the National Council for Further Education. Interest in holistic approaches was expanding at this time, and the colleges had realised the income that could be generated through capitalising in this growing interest. As a qualified herbalist, running my own holistic training school, I am still able to train others in herbal courses at practitioner level. Well, a lot has happened to herbalism throughout the ensuing years, and now the time has come to run a very different type of holistic herbal course to the original one that I wrote back then. I will now endeavour to share the background to this ongoing saga with you. Holistic living and learning. I sit here today coming from a background spanning 45 years as a teacher and a therapist. Most of the time was spent pursuing an agenda of alternative health and alternative education, where the system was failing so many. This was not an easy journey to make, as much of it fell into the realm of the pioneer. What saw me through this time, however, is another journey through the veils between the dimensions. I refer to this as walking between the worlds, spending most of my life trying to make sense of it. Finally, now I understand the significance of it, and through the new vision that I've been called upon and guided to introduce. Never has the need been greater to bring together like minds and like hearts to create a coherent and collaborative vision of our tomorrow upon this earth. I now leave it to those words that channel through a higher and more empowered part of me to share with those who would take the time to listen. The National Health Service started in the UK in 1948. This meant free healthcare and medicine for everybody from the cradle to the grave. This is how the NHS was described by the leading politician who introduced it in his day. So what happened when people became ill before 1948? They would turn to herbs, folk cures and natural remedies. Then the need for this knowledge gradually diminished after 1948, and as the generations died out, so too the knowledge became lost. The pharmaceutical giants stepped up. They would study the natural healing effects of plants, and from this information and research they would isolate the leading actors from within the plant. These are known as the principal active constituents. This research would then be licensed to the pharmaceutical companies, who effectively then own the copyright on the use of these ingredients. Unfortunately, they didn't take into account all the other naturally occurring ingredients that appeared alongside the principal constituents in the plant, and without their presence in this healing process, side effects would occur. The pharmaceutical agenda extended itself. These companies would pay for research programs into their drugs which were undertaken by universities, their agenda being to prove the effectiveness of the commercial drug. Without having suitable positive results from the university research, the funding would stop. The universities required the funding to continue the educational programs. Then the pharmaceutical companies would employ representatives to visit doctors' surgeries all around the country, and these doctors would be approached and offered very valuable incentives to prescribe these drugs to their patients. Once the drug routines and prescriptions were established, the pharmaceutical companies could raise the price of their drugs, and they did. This is one of the reasons why the National Health Service is so stretched today in paying extortionate prices for drugs to heal their patients. Alongside this agenda has grown political movements, initially across America and now and most recently across Europe, to legislate against the use of herbs as natural remedies, a right that has always existed in this country. Many of these herbs are now no longer available, despite how effective and helpful they are. In fact, the availability of many of these is now illegal. However, no one can take away the knowledge of how to grow them and how to use them. The New Earth holism concept. Back in the 90s, when I was teaching the herbalist course that I wrote, a course which was nationally accredited to level 3, students who followed this were asked to research natural remedies and folk cures that their grandparents would have used. I introduced this project so that valuable information would not be lost. Today, weak and weary as a nation from the side effects of a political imposed disease called austerity, we are questioning the ability of the National Health Service to continue under such political constraints. What would we do now if the National Health Service was lost? We get an insight into this potential situation again by observing what is happening in the United States of America today. Affordable health care is only available to those who can afford it. To give you an idea of what this costs, my ex-sister-in-law pays £700 a month to be able to purchase this insurance. This does not represent the full cover that is or should be available on the NHS. How many people can really afford this? For those who cannot, there is no choice, and much of the knowledge has now been lost from the days before 1948. It is now my quest and my vision to provide insight into how people can heal themselves and others around them, in line with how we always used to learn before such approaches got hijacked. In years gone by, in Atlantean times, people learned in a very different way to how we learn today. They would have a spiritual experience, an insight, an understanding, and that would resonate within them at an akashic level. Akashic knowledge is that connected body of knowledge that the universe holds for us. It is the knowledge of everything that was, that is, and will ever be. This knowledge is accessible to us all. These experiences that our forebears had would mean that they could use that information through the filters of their own experience and understanding in order to help themselves and others. This way of learning has been hijacked over the many millennia, over many lifetimes, until we ended up with the situation that we have now today. This is the situation whereby the education system has commandeered the learning process from what it was always intended to be. Education today is focused around fear and control. It controls people going through the system through fear of failure, through fear of not belonging or fitting in. It is a system designed to fail people, which it does to so many today. So many young people and children are now failed by this system. So many are said to have special educational needs and learning disabilities. I have spent decades working with them, and with them teaching me. In truth, they came into this world remembering the old ways of the forebearers. There they learn best in the old ways, and are disserved by the overpowering control of the institutions in place today. There is little else in place for them, other than to have the good fortune to work with those who hold the knowledge and can achieve great results with empowering such children and young people with experiential learning bespoke to their understanding, thus enabling them to grow. Many of these young people are savants, those who know far more than most other people can ever hope to understand. It is incumbent upon us today to rectify these wrongs, to reinstate authentic learning. This is going to be the focus of this herbal course. We're starting in this area of natural healing through plants because we can see around us today that medicines are going to become inaccessible and denied to most people. We know that the NHS is deteriorating. We hear talk of Brexit, which tells us that medicines are going to be in short supply and hard to come by, that we should stock up. It is more important now than ever that people can communicate through nature, through the help of the nature spirits, to identify the appropriate ways to the use of plants within the healing system. This will show us that the same herb can be used in different ways for different reasons and with different people. It will show us that nature spirit will communicate with us through the plant, so that the true essence of healing can be impressed upon those who require it. This may be through nutrition, it may be through essential oils, it may be through herbal applications in many forms, it may be through essences. The individuals who are studying this process will be given the confidence and the key to reawaken within them the ways of accessing the healing message and how to apply it in any appropriate way, individually for those who need it. This may represent a new way of learning. It may represent a new approach to healing and to medicine, and it may be dismissed as a nonsense by those whose agenda is invested in the systems of fear and control. But in fact, it is not a new way. It is a return once more to the old ways, which are focused and built upon ancient knowledge, and which are based on a premise of self-empowerment, a self-empowerment through learning and healing in the right way, the authentic way. This new holistic and intuitive herbal course will start on a spiritual level, and the course will be followed through the different layers of the aura of the plant and the person, right down to the physical levels, in order that it may be healed at the source of where the energetic flow is blocked. This course will be built around a personal workbook which will record personal research at the highest level. This will produce a spiritual herbarium, which actually is a body of knowledge but is to be shared with others. It will consist of visits over a period of time, over different seasons, to special places and special gardens. How commercialization took over. A mistake was made when it was to say, oh, such and such works in this way every time. This idea became exploited and commercialized. For example, slippery elm can be bought today from herbal suppliers like Holland & Barrett. It is sold primarily for digestive problems and assumed that the same product will work for the same people in the same way every time. Little or no reference is made to the fact that slippery elm can be used in different ways, for different conditions, in different applications, for different people, at different times. This is how that understanding into the nature of working with herbs has been lost. The skill was with the practitioner whose intuitive powers guided them to work in the right way with the right people at the right time. This being at one with nature focuses on the relationship between nature and self. Nature holds the answers to every question. We just have to understand how those answers are communicated. Old structures are now breaking down around us everywhere we look today. They are like stars in a distant galaxy. They don't exist anymore. They are fading. They have no energy left in today's ways of being enabled and empowered. There is nothing left to hold on to in the old structures. For the new way has to be about individual reference to what works for the individual, and that individual's intuiting for others. The new course aims to expose students' confidence to their experience and to empower them through this process. Course content. The entire program will be fully interactive with nature and with nature's energies. It will be collaborative, creative, artistic, healing and intuitive. Whilst visiting a garden, students will be required to use a camera in a very different way. They will learn how to use camera lens as the third eye. This creates a nature realm portal, whereby messages and images are communicated to the student. The program will include learning how to make a natural essence, tisanes, oils, etc. Working with natural dyes and materials in art and craft work. Techniques for preparing and using herbs in many different ways. It will include the following topics and workshops, like the artist's garden and garden art, the meditator's garden, communicating with nature spirits and connecting with the realm of nature spirits, garden visitors, the natural garden's animal totems, reading the landscape, the house and home, understanding plants and their energies, the willows and other trees, the fairy garden, a crystal garden, like kindness rocks, messages to and from the nature world, the potpourri, kitchen pharmacy, natural beauty, photography, the spiritual lens, dyer's herbs, magical herbs, making oils and soaps and lotions, designing a lifescape through the garden landscape, seasons as fractals, the sacred geometry of nature, creating a healing garden, a writer's journal, the child's garden with children and for the child within. Making essential oils, herbs, essences, oils, ointments, teas and decoctions, infusions and so much more. The course will be underpinned with regular visits to appropriate herbal venues and gardens, etc. Participants will understand that the garden is a living book and fully interactive with the life landscape. They will understand how to create statues, totems and talisman within lifescape and landscape. They will understand the philosophy that some herbs do not work in the same way with everyone, a misperception that has been exploited in the past through commercialism and pharmaceutical agenda. Another failing of this approach has been focused too much on plants' constituents, that is, the physical agenda, and not on the energies of the plant. This herbal journey is a reverse of the old system, the old way of thinking. It focuses on energies and how they are best suited to the individual concerned. The course will include some understanding of the old herbalists, for example the doctrine of signatures, Paracelsus, etc. The approach will align with the ability to connect with nature through the third eye and to recognize the symbols, patterns and messages it communicates to us all. The course will include how visitors to the garden speak nature's messages, and we will learn how to read the signals. Books. A personal journal will be used alongside and added to with handouts throughout the course development. An apothecary chest will support this. Herbal reference books are useful for reference purposes, and this will be to correlate the new understanding relating the new ways with the old outdated vision. There are, however, lessons to be learnt from the old ways. These include the techniques of making tisanes, creams, ointments, oils, etc. But these approaches are expanded upon to include healing intent, visualization and other healing methods impressed into the products made. The course will include creating natural beauty products, the herbal beautician, natural household products, the kitchen pharmacy, crystal grids in the garden, and also meditation and connection with herbal beings. The course will be comprised of a companion workbook, folder for handouts, projects, etc., the accreditation of which is optional, a wide variety of online materials, a personal herbal journal, building a personal herbarium, the herbal apothecary chest, monthly one-to-one personal tutorials, regular informal group meetings in herbally related environments. The duration of the course is ongoing. I have been on the journey for 30 years now. However, there is an opportunity for professional accreditation once the criteria of the course has been met. The rest will be guided by your personal development and enjoyment of the experience. It is expected that you will regularly tap into your own Pat's Herb Garden space, having access either to an outdoor or indoor garden space in which to be creative. The monthly subscription is £25 per month, payable via PayPal. A link and invoice will be sent out by the 28th of each month, and then materials, resources, training videos, handouts, projects, journal narrative and ephemera, and relevant monthly meeting details will be circulated a week later. By the way, there is an extra £5 fee for package and posting if anybody does want these materials printed off with their resources and posting to their home address. Otherwise, the packages will be collected from Equinox or given out at the monthly meetings on the dates to be agreed. Each monthly herbal journey pack will include detailed information on a specific herb relating to the apothecary chest. To start with, it's lavender. Information packs will include herbal remedies, beauty recipes, cooking recipes, household use recipes, art and craft herbal applications, meditations with cards and videos, a specific herbal application relating to growing, harvesting, planting and propagating, etc., personal projects for creative use in the herbal journal narrative, the Fairy Herbalist Gardener. There will be some specialist workshops run through Equinox, and these will be optional and costed separately, at discounted rates for those who are attending the herbal course. I will look at setting up an online forum, and Steve the Techie will help me with that. But in the meantime, we can use Potting Shed platform to share ideas, info, books, projects, personal research, etc. There will be quizzes, competitions and games each month with special prizes. The course is open-ended for both personal development and professional accreditation. The first monthly subscription is due on June the 25th. Materials resources are available to everyone from the 7th of the following month. Please note that if you would like to host your garden as a meeting venue, you will receive a free month subscription the following month. Please confirm your wish to participate in July's programme by June the 21st, and you will be sent your Starting the Herbal Journey pack free. I look forward to hearing from you on 07970 052 047 or contact me, lynn@hetwebsite.com. Thank you for your time.